from Interaction Forum 2010 at the Washington, D.C. Convention Center, WAMU 88.5 presents the Kojo Nnamdi Show, connecting your neighborhood with the world. Welcome. I'm Kojo Nnamdi. Years ago, 189 countries came together and set themselves 8 incredibly ambitious goals. Eradicate extreme poverty, cut childhood malnutrition by 2/3, stop the spread of deadly diseases like HIV and malaria, universal primary education for kids, among others, all by the year 2015. Today, the Millennium Development Goals still read like a laundry list of ambitious, distant targets, but a funny thing happened under the media radar. Despite a worldwide recession and the global food crisis, countries around the world are making major progress in places you might not expect. In 1990, for example, almost 1 million kids died before their 5th birthday. This year, researchers believe that number will be down to less than 8 million. When the White House unveiled its national security strategy document last week, it mentioned the Millennium Development Goals by name, but some worry that our domestic political environment and concern about runaway spending could cut into our billion-dollar investments abroad. We wanted to explore what progress really looks like in eradicating poverty and disease, so we headed down to the Interaction Forum 2010 at the Convention Center, Interaction being the largest coalition of American non-governmental organizations working on global poverty and development issues with some 192 member organizations. And joining us on stage for this conversation is Dr. Gloria Ekpo, HIV and AIDS specialist for international programs at World Vision. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting World Vision to this session.
Also with us is Mark Green, the director of the Malaria No More Policy Center. He's a former U.S. ambassador to Tanzania, a former Republican member of the U.S. House of Representatives representing Wisconsin's 8th District. Ambassador Green, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Great to be here, Kojo.
Joanna Rubenstein is director of the Center for Global Health and Economic Development at the Earth Institute at Columbia University. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Kojo, for inviting me.
And Falu Njai is Deputy Director for Policy with the UN Millennium Campaign. Good to have you along also.
Thank you.
All of you believe that there has been great progress made in recent years on the Millennium Development Goals. 10 years ago, world leaders met at the United Nations to lay the groundwork for an ambitious set of targets. The goal to eliminate extreme poverty, reduce child mortality, combat diseases like HIV, AIDS, all by 2015. Starting with you, Falu, how are we doing?
Progress in the world in the past 10 years is really quite good, as per the Secretary General's report, which was released some months ago, called Keeping the Promise. Overall, there's been good progress in achieving the Millennium Development Goals, and this progress has actually taken place in some of the world's poorest countries. We have seen, for instance, Malawi made quite a lot of progress in food security. We've seen Tanzania, Burkina Faso made quite some achievements in school enrollment. And latest statistics we have seen also shows that there's been some remarkable progress in child mortality and access to water. And overall, the world is doing quite well in reducing global poverty. However, the achievements are mixed. Not everybody is making progress at the same pace. And this is where action is needed for the next 5 years to ensure that we are on track to achieving the MDGs by 2015.
Joanna Rubenstein?
We have the privilege as Columbia University to be involved in a project in 10 countries in sub-Saharan Africa, Millennium Villages, which is a proof of concept that the Millennium Development Goals can actually be achieved if you have an integrated approach and if you work directly with the local communities. This project works in partnership with the United Nations Development Program, with Millennium Promise. That's an NGO that's really focusing on the Millennium Villages and the achievement of the Millennium Development Goals, with World Food Program, UNAIDS, but most importantly with local communities and the governments. We have seen over the last 4 years tremendous progress in achievement of the Millennium Development Goals of these local communities. And I would actually like to quote what Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, said last week when he visited the Millennium Village in Malawi, Mondama. Today, I call on every country to look closely at this success. It is a case study in what is possible, even in the poorest places in the world. The message I want you to take away is we should support these ambitious strategies for meeting the Millennium Development Goals. They work.
If you'd like to join this conversation, you can call us at 800-433-8850. That's 800-433-8850. You can go to our website, kojoshow.org, join the conversation there. If you happen to be a part of our luncheon audience here at the Washington, D.C. Convention Center for Interaction Forum 2010, you simply have to raise your hand and somebody will approach you with a microphone. We're discussing the Millennium Development Goals 2015 and beyond. What kinds of responsibilities do you think the U.S. really has when it comes to the Millennium Development Goals and development assistance more broadly? That number again, 800-433-8850. As I said earlier, you all believe that great progress has been made in recent years, but that some of that progress has not really been reported. Ambassador Green, could you explain?
Sure. In fact, as we're gathering here today, just in the last couple of weeks, we've seen some great news coming out on child mortality in particular. And I think that's what the previous speakers have referenced. When I take a look at where we are with the MDGs, what I choose to point to is the fact that we have seen, as Joanna just said, we've seen what is possible. We have a long way to go. It's uneven. There are parts of the world where we have not seen, quite frankly, the progress that we all hope for. But we've also seen in so many places, so many disparate places, remarkable success stories, really good news about what is possible. And I think that's really what we need to hold up right now, because certainly as we face fiscal challenges, there will be voices out there that say, gee, you know, is this a good investment? Are we spending our money wisely? Well, when you take a look at those success stories, to me the answer is yes. Now, we can do better, we can be more effective, but there is so much that we should point to about what is possible.
Gloria Ekpo.
Thank you. Looking at what we've done in World Vision, a Christian organization helping women, children in over 100 countries, we have mobilized governments to get committed to the Millennium Development Goals. In general, we've seen, like my other panelists have noted, we've seen a general reduction in childhood mortality, but in other countries, they are still lagging behind in some of those areas, like in prevention of mother-to-child transmission of HIV. Access was about 10% in 2005, and that has gone up to 35% currently. And children accessing care and those on treatment, about 4 million now on treatment, but 5 million are yet to be treated. And in addressing this, World Vision has adopted some strategies like the Child Health Now, which is a 5-year commitment to ensure that there is reduction in maternal and child health care in child death in her programs, as well as the HOPE initiative, which is an initiative that helps to address stigma that affects people accessing care, as well as other programs in malaria and ending hunger. So I think with great public-private partnership and working with governments to keep their commitment in these Millennium Development Goals, much more could still be achieved.
Well, according to the OECD, the U.S. gave $28 billion in official development assistance last year. So, Mark Green, I'd like to ask a value question. You could call it the $28 billion question. Why should we care?
Well, first off, I think when we take a look at those numbers, let's remember that official foreign assistance from the U.S. just scratches the surface of the overall assistance that America can provide. And I think that's really the great untold story here, is the extraordinary generosity of American people because they care about what happens in other parts of the world.